Well, we are coming around the mountain. We're going downhill, I think, picking up speed. We've got today, and then next week will be our last installment of Building Engaged in Worship through singing. Brian will be taking next week. I will not be here, so I need to talk to you about that.
Okay.
No pressure. But Brian will wrap us up and bring it home, put a big bow on it. And we'll get through all what I've been told is the nerdy stuff. So we'll get through the nerdy stuff. So we're done with that. So what we're going to talk about today is song selection, and we're going to have some fun with this. Why do we sing the songs we sing, and where do we sing them, and what's the reasoning and thought behind that, and maybe share some thoughts and ideas. But this is just really a good discussion to talk about songs and the songs that make up our worship service. So what's in our worship? What are some things that make up our worship service? Singing is a part of it. What else is in our worship service? What do we do?
Prayer.
Prayer? Okay.
Reading the Word.
Jim's locked out there. Yeah, we read from God's Word.
Communion.
Ooh, we have communion together. We commune together with the Lord.
Praise.
Praise.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, we're thankful. Right, we express our thanks.
It's fellowship with believers.
Fellowship.
Study the Word.
Oh, yeah, we study the Word, right? We study it. We read it. We meditate. Right? There's a lot that goes on with that. I mean, we're taught, right? We get a lesson. What else makes up? Anything else? When we think about what's in our worship service.
Again, you're talking like actually in
Yeah,
during the worship
Yeah,
service.
what's happening in our worship event? Anything else? I mean, miss anything?
Invitation.
Oh, we got an invitation. Yeah, we always ask for an invitation.
I feel like we're communicating with God.
Oh, yeah, we're speaking to God, right? Are we listening? Yeah, to God through the Word, through our lesson, through meditation, through prayer. Yeah.
I think we're looking forward to our heavenly home. This is a temporary camping trip we're on right now.
I love that. It's a looking forward to what it will be like to be in God's presence and with the saints. Yeah, that's really good.
Growing,
Say that again.
just hoping, just growing in our faith.
Yeah, shouldn't we grow a little more as a result of what we do today? And next week a little bit more, and a little bit more. John's been talking about that on Wednesday night. It's like, yeah, are we growing and maturing? Yeah, dude.
We're supposed to be encouraging one another.
Oh, there should be some encouraging. Oh, man, this list is going to go forever. This is great. Yeah, encouraging. Yeah. So,
It also mentions teaching one another
yeah.
in our songs and hymns, spiritual songs.
I can't remember if we had teaching up here or not. We had teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, taught, lesson, yeah. So, just some elements there, just some things that I captured. You even got more of that. We've got praise in there. We've got prayer, teaching, communion. There's invitation, fellowship. There's giving. It's a salutation. We say goodbye. We wrap it up. The elders come up at the end. That's our tradition here. They'll speak to us at the end, and in part to send us off into the week. And sometimes there's baptism that happens. I miss the days when baptisms happen during worship service. Just my personal opinion, for what it's worth what you just paid for. There used to be an invitation. We had a tradition at a church we used to go to where after a baptism, remember, we'd get up and do a big circle. The whole congregation would make a big circle. That was kind of a cool tradition we used to do. And there was something about encouraging the new brother or
We used
sister.
to do that too.
Yeah. Now it seems like baptisms kind of happen on
I noticed one thing you got up there, we didn't use it, put up there, giving.
giving. Yeah. Yeah, got it here. Yeah, there's giving. So the question really is then, how does our singing connect with or support these elements? That's the question, right? That's really what we're talking about in our class. How does singing connect with that? Does it connect with that?
Sure.
How does it connect with that?
Well, you kind of commune with God when you sing.
Okay.
Your mind is on the song, which is supporting God, and you're thinking about God when you're doing it. You're not got other things going around in your brain because you've got to focus on what you're doing with the song.
Okay. So focusing, that's pretty good. Yeah. Jim thought.
God told us to sing. He didn't say recite poetry. And so the music he has a reason for the music, and it affects us. It changes our attitude, it can encourage us, but it involves our emotions. Where poetry alone can do that, but when you combine it with music, it has a much stronger effect.
I agree with that. I agree. We talked about that. Respect. With David, I think we were chatting about this a few weeks ago, right? That it has this, maybe a month or so ago, that, there's a physiological thing that happens when people sing together. We're doing it together as a group. We're our physiology aligns. We've talked about things like meter and tempo and register and things that drive a feeling. So a lot of these things we're talking about have an emotional connection. There's an intellectual connection, right? We learn, we study, we speak, but there's also an emotional connection. I'm of the opinion that worship is it's kind of the whole human experience happening there. Heart, mind, and body, everything's kind of happening there.
We also remember, because, when I teach the kids, and I've been with the little ones, start out Genesis, Exodus.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? When I'm trying to find the chapter in the Bible, in my brain I'm singing the song.
Uh-huh.
So we remember and we also learn. And there's song verses from the Bible we sing. And man, when I am having trouble, that song pops in my brain. So
I agree with
there's
you.
a connection with that.
I agree with you so much. There's so many examples of that. If somebody said to me, spell the alphabet, I would go A, B, C, D, E. I would do that. I learned that when I was, 4 years old? And it stuck with me. That's how I know the alphabet. 30 days, half September, April, June, and November, all those. That's how it's amazing. You learn things through a rhythm or a song. It sticks with you. I think of songs, I think of worship concepts in a song format. I have a personal pet peeve about messing with that. It's like this was written in a certain way to have an effect and to remember and to impart a feeling and impress upon you. So there is so much there that learning and impresses and you remember through singing and music. George had a thought back real quick.
One of the things it does for us is unity. Unity.
Yeah.
I went to a concert this week, and the guy that's doing the concert got up and led the audience in three-part harmony. Thousands of people in this audience doing three-part harmony. Just ooh and ah and going up and down. And
Yeah.
it was moving.
It is.
Everybody singing the same note in your group.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, Jim, thought?
Paul writes about us being members of a body,
Uh-huh.
and this is where we can feel that when we're all singing together, we're all working together doing the same thing.
Mhm.
And it's a physical participation that we don't have in most of the other things. Maybe in communion there's a physical
Mhm.
thing where we're all going together, but when you're singing together, it's something you can hear and it's something you're actively doing. Your body is the instrument, so the whole body is basically involved in singing.
There's so much in that, what you're saying there, about how it's an opportunity for all of us to be involved in these things. John may give us a lesson, but we all join in the invitation. There's so many elements to that where we do it together. We participate, we actively participate. And singing is the one physical, active participation that we can all have. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've said a couple comments that made me think back about the video that Brian showed earlier in the quarter where it talked about how the heartbeats get aligned. That's the physiological element. And then also what Annette was talking about just made me think about how whenever you leave and you leave the worship service and it's Monday or it's Tuesday, you don't have anybody that's going and just quoting what the preacher said. You have them singing the songs.
A lot of times, on the way out the door here.
That's why I feel like that last song that I pick whenever I'm leading, is so important because it's like, okay, what song do I want them to have in their head the next day, hopefully, and
Yeah, so they're reading my mind because that's really what this is about. You know, how can we accomplish that, right? How, you know, can we think of songs that connect to all these things that serve a purpose? And there's a purpose behind that. Yeah, there are songs that are invitation oriented. You wouldn't want to do a whole worship service of invitation songs necessarily, unless that was the message and you really wanted to drive that home, and that's your purpose. You know, you're really thinking about that. But we can connect all these things. I agree. I mean, I've been to some places where they didn't do a closing song, and it just I just feel like we have to do that. You know, let's send them out, you know, with something that we can all participate in, and then keep the closing prayer brief, and let's take it out with us. You know.
yeah, because I mean, the invitation song sometimes is very reflective. Sometimes it's pretty somber. You want that closing song to be something that's, you know, upbeat to give them that.
We're humming it on the way into the party. Yeah. No, you're right. And can we? You said about sometimes you don't think about what the preacher says. Well, can we structure a worship service for singing that does do that? That does connect with that? You know, John he's trying to do that a lot during the week. You'll see. You won't see this. I'm sorry. But he'll send suggestions, and we're thinking about, okay, you know, I think Brian led it last week. Did you sing last week?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I saw the list of songs, I knew what the sermon was about. He goes, oh, okay, you know, because I understand what he's trying to do there. He's trying to align. Brian's trying to align to reinforce this message. You know, so there's things like that are happening, so that we can all participate in that and get the most effect of what music does to each one of us. Yes.
Well, you know, when I'm having problems during the week, songs pop in my
Yeah,
head.
absolutely.
You know, when things are really bad, when upon life's billows, you know, you just automatically, and you're
Count your
thinking of
blessings.
it.
Yeah.
Count your blessings, and then you remember to thank God and say a prayer.
Well,
You know, so
funny.
what you sing at church, it does affect me.
Funny you
You
say
know,
that. You know, when Christ, when Christ hung on the cross, what are some of the words that he said when he was hanging on the cross? Remember something he said?
My God,
Why have you forsaken me? And somebody asked me one time, why is he saying? Why is he asking God? Do you know what that is?
It's a quotation from Psalms.
Psalms 22. So if you read Psalm 22, you see, I mean, you have an example of that right there in a very stressful, painful, agonizing moment. What is the Lord doing?
A song.
A song. Now,
A
that
song.
could have been set to music. I don't know.
Yeah, or
I mean,
a
it could
chant.
have been something, but he is looking to that for strength. And if you read Psalm 22, read the whole thing. It starts with that, but it ends with, you know, may all of mankind praise you in the great assembly. I mean, so it is a song of journey and coming through agony. So, but yeah, I mean, we see examples of that, and we the more we immerse ourselves in the Word and in this kind of music, the more it has the effect that it should have on us. So I'm going to ask. Let's demonstrate an example of that. I'm going to ask Brian, if he's in good voice, to lead us in a praise song. Just a couple verses of it to kind of give an example of what, you know, it feels like to have. And I think this. When I was thinking about this week, I rang Brian up. I'm like, I think this is a song that just really does that. It kind of does that tribal, you know, boom, 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 you know, kind of everybody's, you know, locking in, and it's one of those songs. I think if there's a song that kind of aligns us all physiologically, this is where we probably do it, and it's kind of fun. So, Brian, would you mind leading us on this?
Yep.
Okay. I can do songs for you.
This is a good standing song. Can you stand and see the TV here? So remember, we're gonna start together in unison, and then we're gonna split out into our parts.
We're all singing Doa.
Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise is to our God. Sing hallelujah to our God. Glory, hallelujah, is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise
Thanks, everybody. What effect does that have when the song leader chooses to maybe start off a worship service with a song like that? First of all, when we do it in worship, it's like twice that long, and it has the break in it and the bridge and all that. But what effect does that have on the body?
That all our praise should be God.
Yeah, it's a focus. Like here's what we're doing. It's a wake up. It's a, hey folks, this is what we're doing. Everybody gets involved. By the time the song's over, if there might have been some people milling around in the lobby, by the time the song's over, everybody's in there, everybody's focused, and it's a praise and adoration type song. So, in fact, if you ever notice, if you go through the song book, our hymn books are broken up into categories like this that really focus on all of these, most or all of these, and things, and some other things that the author has done to kind of categorize it for us. So if you ever feel like, hey, I just need a little bit of a boost, go to the praise and adoration, go to the, fellowship section and find a song that really, focuses on that as a theme. Yeah. What are your other thoughts? Just thoughts about that.
Yeah, one thing is when you're singing praise, internally you're thinking, why am I praising?
Mm-hmm.
And you go back and reflect, the reason I'm praising is because of what he's done for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a thankfulness.
Yeah,
It's
that's also good.
Yeah. There's a song that's been just buzzing through my head for the last couple of weeks, and it's this, he's worthy of all praise. It's like reminding yourself, who is it that we serve and why? And I think it's good to kind of remind ourselves of that versus immersing ourselves in something ungodly the whole week long. Then we fight on Sunday mornings to come back. If we immerse ourselves in it all the time, it's just you start to. Like from around my family, the more I'm around, the more I appreciate them. So the more I'm around God, the more I appreciate Him. So, yeah.
I think some of these other elements, they all kind of validate. Through in communion, as I'm thinking about, what George said, through what He's done on the cross for me, I praise Him because He allows me to come to Him in prayer.
Yeah.
I praise Him
because this happened.
Because He invites me to come and say what I'm
He
a
made
sinner.
me high priest. Yeah.
I praise Him. Like all these other, all these things that He allows. And all these elements,
yeah,
I can praise Him for it.
Yeah, what a wonderful. Yeah, that this got instituted and what happened there. That's the big thank you, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Good point.
I'm really thankful for the songs because at the beginning when I first started, I was like, I don't know about these songs. I'm not used to it because I grew up Pentecostal, so we had instruments and everything, so it was different. But now that I've been learning and understanding the songs more. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you get certain songs stuck in your head all week. And the song that I had stuck in my head was "Yea, Not That Way." Do not be ashamed. That song was stuck in my head all week.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I enjoy it.
I agree. And I think we've talked in the first week about the singing only nature of what we do and why we do it. And I don't want to read too much into it and get the mind of God or anything, but I do believe that the effect of singing versus listening, has, the participating versus just watching it has an effect. The words that are written mean more. I am thine, O Lord. I don't know why, for the last month has been buzzing through my head. What a beautifully written poem that song is. And somebody wrote that poem, and then someone later on said, ooh, it's got some rhythm to it, I can put music to this. And man, it's like as you sing it and involved in it, it means more to you. I really do believe that. So I think there's something happening there, something mechanical happening there. Yes, ma'am.
It affects our kids too. Like my kids listen to praise music all day long when they're doing their schoolwork and stuff. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if they're really understanding what they're singing, but they're training their minds to think like that. And even Easton, we were singing 10,000 Angels one time, and that brought him to tears because he started listening to the words. And so I think kind of training their minds to listen to that kind of stuff so that when they are in a tough spot, that's what comes to their mind, not the worldly things that they hear.
Oh, and they'll correct each other through songs sometimes too. So I think they're getting something.
Yeah, so good. That's what you said there is really so good, and it feeding their brains the right stuff, as opposed to feeding their brains Pepsi potato chips. I had a relative who, I'm not kidding you, for probably 40 years lived on Pepsi potato chips, lived on that, and her body just stopped working because she fed her body junk for like 40 years, right? People do that to their brains. They feed their brains Pepsi potato chips, instead of feeding their brains what's good for it, what's good for their mind.
So what happened to them?
I'm sorry?
What happened to them?
The lady? She's in a nut house.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Sorry.
One other thing, when you sing, your whole body vibrates differently than when you talk. So it's kind of a holistic, there's a lot about using vibration feedback to help you heal your body.
Yeah, I think that's where
It literally heals your body.
there is music therapy too. My father was in hospice. There was I don't know if we talked about this or not, but there's a lady that came and she did music therapy, and it was calming, soothing, and uplifting, and encouraging, and you do all that stuff with music, and the rhythm is one of those things that does it. Yeah.
One quick thought
Yes.
too, and I think everybody can agree with this. You've probably been on a team at some point, been on a basketball team, a sports team. Totally different playing in the game than watching the game.
Yeah.
Or you've been a part of a band. Totally different playing in the band than listening to it.
Yeah.
Can you get something out of it? Sure. Totally different experience.
Yeah.
Being in it versus
Yeah.
being an outsider. Being primary versus
Yeah.
secondary.
Yeah. It probably explains why I have no appreciation for soccer. I have never played it in my life, so I don't get anything out of it. But if you have played tennis or something, you look at it differently because I participate, I understand what it takes to do it, and we are part of the symphony of God's instruments. Yeah. And also, as we transition to another song that Brian's made us in, think about songs in this way too. Some songs we sing to each other. We sing, we will glorify, right? We're singing it about, we're kind of singing to each other, right? We have songs that we kind of sing out loud. They're just expressing a thought. Some glad morning I'll fly away. It's just kind of expressing a thought. It's just expressing. Then we have other songs that they could be called prayer songs. We're actually speaking to God through these songs. And so I'm going to ask Brian to lead us one that's actually, think about these songs, and we try to do this when we structure the worship service. It's like, is it time to, just like if we're going to set up for prayer, can we do a song that is a prayer song and maybe starts to reflect on that and starts to get us to think in that direction? That's something that the song leader, the worship leader is trying to do, is build something that starts to help the congregation move in that direction. So this is an example of a prayer song.
Yeah, again, one of our newer songs, and actually, surprisingly, one of the more requested was that people come up to me all the time, "Oh, rescue me, when will you rescue me again?" And I'm really kind of taken back by of the songs, "Rescue Me" is a tough choice, and I think just because it's so different than what we're used to singing. Sometimes we're singing the happy, uplifting, and there's times where we're lamenting, we're struggling, and we need help. So, quick reminder on this one: we got a repeat by the girls. So the guys will start off, and then the girls will jump in, and then when we get to the verses, nice and soft, and then every line we build up a little bit stronger. So you'll see that. So, quick reminder there. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Rise up, Lord, and bring them down. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Enemies surround me. Throw me to the ground like a hungry lion. They have tracked me down. Show the wonder of your love. Save me by your hand. I have kept my heart for you. In your path I stand. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Rise up, Lord, and bring them down. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Rescue me from the wicked, O Lord. Woohoo! And one thing I was going to point out, so notice we talked about some of the nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
When you go back to, did you guys notice the little 2/4 in there? Yeah, so in the directing, you got to go from that 4/4 to the 2/4 real quick, so there's some fun fun nerdy stuff in there too.
Yeah, some
So
good stuff in there.
yeah,
Yeah. And a little
It's from the Psalms too.
hashtag.
yeah, from the Psalms as well. Those are our scripture.
Yeah, as we were singing that, I was thinking about Psalms 22, Jesus on the cross, when you were setting this up. Sometimes we need that, hey, I don't know about you, but the older I've gotten, the more my prayers have become, I need help. My prayers is, I need help. I don't know. Your will be done, I need help. It's less, give me this, give me that, do that. Less specific and more just help me.
Well, sometimes we're like, every time I sing that song, I think of people in other countries and the things that they're going through, and wars, and suffering for what they believe in, and so I'm as I'm singing that song, I'm praying for those, because we're so blessed to be in this country and not deal with that right now. But I'm thinking of people in other countries, and I'm singing that out for them, like rescue them, Lord, because I know they're going through trials, they're going through stuff. They don't know if they're going to make it through their day.
Yeah. And back to what we were talking about before too, there's actually somebody listening to us. There is hope. We have hope, as opposed to the hopeless.
I got like goosebumps because like in the part where it says like I will stand, like, and I feel like when we have been talking to JWs and me and Isaac, I just feel like right in that song I felt like we need to stand firm in our faith and what we believe in.
I have my heart for you, in your path I stand.
Yeah. So you see how this song is so different from the first one that we did, right? It's a prayer song. It's a song of supplication. It's speaking directly to Lord. Somebody, whoever penned. I imagine whoever penned the words to this. Very emotional. Imagine very emotional. And we've heard music like that. You hear it and you go, wow, what was this person going through when they wrote that? What were they thinking? And the fact that someone could put it to some rhythmic tune is talent, and that we can enjoy it and benefit from today. So, big question: what should be considered when we're selecting songs? What are some of the things we should think about? What are some of the things that you want the worship leader to consider?
Range.
Range? I mean, like, is it? Can we sing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can we sing this? Okay, I love that.
Can he sing it? And then
Can
we
he-
can sing it.
Yeah, can the song leader sing it?
No idea who she's talking about.
Yeah, so I'll just say, can we sing this, right? Is it possible? I mean, is this a song that we can pull off? I mean, if we want to have the effect that we just talked about for the last 20 minutes or so, if we want to have that effect, well, we need to be able to do it. We need to remove distractions and make this something that actually we can concentrate on the words from. If it's so impossible to sing, or so out of key, or it's so I'm not able to get what from it because it was just maybe if the song was structured that it really isn't something we can pull off. Or now it becomes our family has a joke. You hear that song "We Have a Friend in Jesus"? So we were at a worship at church years and years and years ago, and this guy led that song, and he led it about 6 keys too high. I mean, it was the funny, he's singing, and then it got to the, and he was singing like that, and we're just like, ever since then, whenever we see that song in the songbook, we just kind of giggle, because it ruined everything about trying to get the effect we were just talking about, because the song was, watching this guy sing and about pull something as he's trying to sing up real high. So, we might not be able to pull it off. I think that's what you're getting at, right, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What else?
There's from the congregation standpoint, and also from the song leader standpoint.
Yeah,
If you don't
that's
feel
why
comfortable
we-
singing it, like John requests songs from us. Well, there's some songs I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I can get this song down, and there's others I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, not gonna happen. But how about this one?
Yeah, we used to go to West Olive years ago, and Ray, wonderful man, he would send out his list of songs, and I just went to him one day. I said, brother, I'm like, hey, I tell you what, I'll make a deal for you. You pick out the sermon topic, I'll pick out the songs. Can we do that? Because what you're doing isn't really gonna work. It's just not gonna work. I get you're more looking at the topic than you are the things we were talking about, trying to match it in there just right. And so, is the song a fit? And that's that word "a fit" is a big word. Does it fit? I even had to tell John, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that song.
Well, just like,
And suggest another one, maybe.
like you said earlier, you don't want the songs to be so tense and that you at the end of the worship you feel like
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah, I don't want to sing just a bunch of downers,
Right,
85
I don't want to
tempo.
walk out of the church not uplifted. So, and that's really nice that the song leaders make sure they get something there that makes us feel good. That we still, even though we're sinners, we're still God's children, and He loves us.
David, Brian, and I talk about this all the time, and that when you're building out a worship service, you're trying to do those things we just talked about. You're trying to align. Well, so if you were to graph out, like the emotions of a worship service, it would probably look something like this, and it would, if you graphed it, when you've got the praise and the prayer and you've got the communion, then you've got the sending the kids out, the kids connection, then you might have an invitation song, then you got to close up. If you were to graph it, you would probably have this thing, and there's a rhythm in that we may not really, it's subconscious, we have to understand that the songs and the worship and then participation, all that's moving us up and down.
And you don't want to
like
make
a
anybody
river.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get too violent.
That's right, yeah.
Some might upchuck.
You know,
We
slam the
don't
brakes on
want
it
to
too
end
hard.
on a Debbie Downer either.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
even
right.
start on one? I mean, I'm trying to think of a super slow song. I mean, trying to think of
All to
like.
Jesus I surrender.
Yeah,
Isn't your opening song.
Yeah, that's not going to be the opener one.
That could be your invitation. Like,
Yeah, if you
Exactly.
did it, for some effect, you do it for some reason. I don't know that I wouldn't choose that. But yeah, I love that song, but wouldn't do it there.
Right.
At the same time, you don't want to be up here
Yeah,
like
the whole
some
time.
of those other churches, feel good churches. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's good to bring yourself back down to reality.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something here. That's bold. I think about our singing without an instrument. Because we are all masters of our individual instruments, we can sing the fastest song we want, no problem. I have been to some instrumental congregations where everything's like 90 tempo. You know why? Because they can't physically do it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good enough players to play 120, 140 tempo. They're not. They can't pull it off. So everything is like a 9. I'm like, you know what? I remember sitting to a whole worship going, where was the praise? They couldn't do that song.
praise Him.
It couldn't-
Praise
yeah,
Him,
everything's this
Jesus,
tempo.
Blessed Redeemer.
Yeah, it's like you're not able physically to do it. You got to be pretty good players to have a band play every praise or, think of some up-tempo songs we do. We can do it though. We can do
I've
it.
noticed too what you were saying. They just chant. They never
Yeah, it's
sing a story like we do. It's the same 2 verses over
and watch.
over
It's the same
and
tempo.
over
Everything's the
and
same
over.
tempo.
And it's horrible.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I walked out of one and I looked at my friend and I said, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah. I
And
think
she goes, "Yeah,
we can do this.
we
Because-
have a story we sing.
Yeah.
We have verses, not just blah blah blah. Like they're trying to drum you into a mind control. That's how I felt.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
The thing, Carrie, I'm not sure if Carrie enlightened me or ruined me on this, but I think it's more enlightened that early on in our marriage, that there was some of the popular Christian music songs that I was like, yeah, I like this song, I like it, and then she just like opened my eyes, like they sing the same phrase,
Uh-huh.
you know,
50
Over and
times.
over.
yeah, like
Or the melody's 3 notes.
right.
There's
So,
no.
but to try to take it more positive, like for us, like I love the stories. I love where we are able to go through an entire song, and you have the chorus, sure, but I mean it tells a story, and it's not just us,
Yeah.
saying the same thing over and over again, where it just becomes white
Oh, yeah.
noise.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
not only the
White
message, but the structure of the song too. When you're singing without drums and a bass guitar behind you, the song has to have it built into it. And a lot of these songs we sing have it built into it. Rescue me from the wicked. You hear them. We provided that rhythmic sound. That song's built good enough where it doesn't need drums. You sing some songs like you gotta have a drum behind that. It doesn't have it built into the song. Yes, sir.
Just something I like when things are considered. I remember when I first got into church, seeing Sunday morning and there's a song leader and he's got the book open and he's flipping through the book, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude,
What? You're just not picking out your songs?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I gotta go quick, put my numbers up there real quick, got the
Yeah.
word, and yeah.
Yeah.
What is the message? What do you want to do? Have you talked to the person doing communion devo? What is their message? Can you
Or what
can
are you
support
trying to do?
them?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah.
It's we're piecing together a worship service. Every element should be meant to worship, not just to fill a gap.
Yeah. Have we done it lately? Or have we done it 4 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
We got a joke back when I was in Ohio. I think, I'm not kidding, I think 4 Sundays in a row, we sang the same communion song. It was hilarious. And every song we kept singing the same one. And one of the guys finally brought me, we just did this the 4th week in a row. It's like, really?
It's stuck in your head, and then like
Yeah.
you don't know it, but you're like, oh man, I really like that song.
Yeah, but like a song. I can't remember. It was When My Love for Christ Grows Weak. That's what it was. We did it 4 weeks in a row. And Brian made a spreadsheet that we can all go look at and track. I don't know if we're still keeping up. I haven't looked at it in a while. But tracking when the last time when the song was led. So you're going to say, oh, we just did that. Yeah, I wanted to do that, but Brian did last week. And so we can be thoughtful about it. Yeah, do you have a thought, Joe?
When you're a song leader and you listen to the praise songs, and you listen to praise and harmony and a cappella and all these things, you can get in your mind, that's a fantastic song, I want to lead that song. But it's got complex pieces to it that really don't work in a worship setting with everybody else. And so you have to be selective and kind of put your desires and the things you really love aside and select songs that the congregation can sing.
Yeah. I love the new song. You remember the new song?
So I was gonna say,
I love that song. I wish we could pull that off. But the new song is one I think about. I love that song. I don't think we can pull it off. I don't think we can. Now, if we had a group that was really practicing this and had the real strong altos and tenors, we might be able to, but I just don't think so. Last 5 times I've heard people try and do it, it just doesn't work.
You still
we
should practice it anyway.
Yeah, we should. Well, I wouldn't. That's a whole philosophy in itself. Practice during worship. I don't know. Okay. Does the congregation know the song? Do we know this song? And I think we're doing a great job now with what David and Brian have done. To use Wednesday nights and the email that goes out with the songs to try. I've learned some songs that I normally would have run away from. Like, I don't want to do that. But this has helped me to learn some new songs. Rescue Me and Every Praise. I'm like, those are a couple of my favorite songs now. Because we learned them in a mechanism that allows us to do it.
But you can't do all new songs though.
Right? Yeah, can't. Yeah, and
you can't do all old songs. Like we gotta tailor to everybody in the congregation.
Some old songs and new songs.
Yeah. Or you give new life to old songs, like we've talked about.
There's songs that I grew up singing. I picked it out, let it, just think it, and nobody sang it. And I was like, whoa, did you guys not know that? I think it was Sound the Battle Cry. I don't know if it was Here, or there was another one. Was it Here? It was Here. And led that. I'm like, did you guys not know that song? I grew up on that. I just assumed everybody knew that, And so this is something to think about. You don't want to just be thoughtful. I love this, what Brian said. Just be thoughtful, right? Does a song fit with our a cappella format? We talked about that a little bit. Is this something that actually fits with what we do? And there's a beautiful song. Did you ever hear How Beautiful by Twyla Ferris? You ever hear that song? Mm-hmm. How beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. Back when we were in Ohio, one of the guys tried to lead that. I'm like, man, it just doesn't. Everybody knew it, but this song doesn't do a cappella well. I would never recommend singing that song. Not in a worship, not in an assembly.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't pull that off. So it just doesn't really fit. We talk about this? Does the song fit with our plan for this week's worship? I mean, what are we trying to do? And let me ask you a question. What is our plan for worship? I mean, what do you hope that the worship leader and the minister and the eldership, what do you hope they do? What are you looking for?
A stronger relationship with God.
Okay, so help it be relationship building. Very good. Yeah. What else?
Keep me awake.
Keep you awake, engaged. I'll say engaged. Engaged. Okay.
Yes, engaged.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Okay. Yeah. If you're engaged, you won't fall asleep.
Challenge.
Challenged. Okay. Yeah.
This is a big one for me, and I don't know for anybody else, but to me, worship isn't just, the worship out there isn't just for the people who go to church all the time, right? So we get visitors and stuff like that. So I think it needs to be something that they can understand, because I went to the lessons before where it's something I would understand, but it was way too complex for anybody that hasn't ever been to church before.
Preacher's talking in King James Version.
Yeah, and then,
We're just
and
way
then
too, yeah.
and that's why I think classes like this is important for that.
Yeah.
Because we can get in depth, go into detail and all this other stuff, and there's different levels of classes we can have, right? So,
Yeah, probably should. Yeah, a sermon probably shouldn't be on level 400 theology.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, whoa. I've heard that a couple times. Like, I grew up in the church, but you're kind of way over, you know. So, yeah, this idea that is it for everyone, you know. And a cappella singing, sometimes people can get like, whoa, I didn't know I was supposed to participate. And, you know, well, I'd love you to, but you can't. You know, it's okay. Hum along. Yeah, good thoughts. Yes, sir.
We talked about thoughtful for the message, but also thoughtful and prepared for musically. Like, do you know how quickly you want to sing a song? Do you know what rhythm or you know what pitch? Like,
Yeah.
Have you practiced? Are you ready? You're not like, oh, there's another slide. Oh, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. I'll be prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
prepared.
And so I think the guys are and with Marlene sends the bulletin out. All that stuff helps us to be plugged in, and as opposed to just this is popped on us, you know.
And I think a lot of the conversation here has been focused kind of on the worship leader, which is really good to hear the perspective. But to your point, I think that I feel like our congregation here has done a better job than any other congregation I've ever been to at trying to prepare the entire body, the entire congregation about, okay, we're all worshiping. Yes, the worship leader should be prepared, obviously. The preacher should be prepared, obviously. But everybody sitting in the pews, what are you doing to help engage yourself? To make it to where
This is for you.
Yeah, how are you going to make sure that you're getting the best worship experience that you possibly can? If you're just, walking in blind, whenever you have Marlene's, the email and everything, whenever you have the playlist and stuff, then you're kind of selling yourself short as what this worship service could be if you don't engage.
It's a great point. We got to keep going because we're running out of time. Real quick, the main thing I think is embedded in that concept is everybody who's participating in the worship service should help to make it the best it can be. And so does this song help us make it the best it can be? I think that's really where I'm coming from that. We talk about, can the congregation sing the song? Can the song leader lead the song? And does this song fill our desire to make it the best it can be? Other thoughts to consider? Anything else on your mind?
One thing we haven't talked about are the words in the song. Especially with new songs, you've got to check them out to make sure the words are really words that are from the Word.
I think it's just a scriptural. I mean, is it aligned with our doctrinal beliefs? And there may be some songs that don't.
With the Bible.
Yeah.
And don't be a Scrooge. Just because you don't like the song doesn't mean I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, try it. Maybe you'll.
So I've seen that.
Maybe you'll be surprised.
I
Last
wanna
thought,
thank you guys because you've been sending the songs, like newer songs. Marlene sends them out, but you send them with a cappella singing.
Mm-hmm.
That really, really helps.
Now they're on the website
I've
too.
never, ever
There's the website. There's the link.
had, never had that happen, and it's really cool. So I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody who participates in that and is driving that. And I admit, more than anybody, I need to be kind of dynamited off my, stool.
Derriere.
Go try something new.
Your derriere up and out.
Yeah. So thank you all very much. Any final thoughts? Just wrap us up. Yes, sir.
The song leader should not be the weakest link.
That's great, guys. Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. But I would always say the song leader is the song leader, not the lead singer. I'm a big believer in that. We are all the congregational lead singers, and the song leader just helping make sure it's organized, pitch, tempo, keep us going in the right tempo, fall in the background, and let the congregation drive this. I think that's the healthiest. Thank you all very much. I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much. I can't be here next week. Dave, I'll tell you about that short notice. Brian's going to wrap it and close it. So
quick plug. Next week, a lot of singing. What song have we not, Drew mentioned one? I thought we knew that song. Maybe we didn't. What song can we come in and sing next week? What's a new song that you like that we could try? What's an old song that we don't sing? What's a song that you just love that you want to sing? Give me your requests before next week. If you want to sing it too, matter of fact, if you want to try and go up here and direct it, more power to you. Sound good? Email me, text me, see me on Wednesday, after service, whatever.
Sounds great.
Let me know. And if you don't give me anything, then I get to pick them all.
Yeah. If you don't, then Dave will a sign.
Nope.
Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you out in the worship.